Hey there, I'm Miska and welcome to HitScan. Valorant launch is coming up, so I'll be going through some launch need-to-know bits. What's changing, what you should know about, things that the community have asked for info on in the past. As the past couple of days, the info's been a bit scattered, but there's been a lot. So let's start with the launch date and time. So what we know here is of course the June 2nd launch date. If it's any similar to how the closed beta launch happened though, which was also on a Tuesday I might add, the game should go live at about 2 PM CEST. That's 5 AM Pacific time for those of you on the US West Coast, and you can easily convert that to your time zone using Google. That time has not been confirmed though, so I would keep an eye on @PlayValorant on Twitter for an exact time, as I'm sure that they will throw out a blog post or a quick tweet with just a little bit more info on the day. Valorant itself is of course free to play. You can download it right now actually if you don't have the client. At the bottom of the website there's this tiny download the game link where you can get the installer downloaded so you're ready for launch as well. The link will be in the description so you can click that directly. Quickly covering the regions, Valorant is launching to most of the world. That does include the OCE region. And when clarified, what they meant by this is that Valorant is almost launching worldwide, but regions like Vietnam will have to wait a bit. They didn't specify exactly why. And India and the Middle East will for now be mapped to SEA and EU servers, but they are looking to improve that situation down the line. So expect updates on that and on more data centers and servers being added so you get a better connection. You should also know that Riot have said that, quote, on our current short-term roadmap is to get new game server deployments in Warsaw, Madrid, London, Atlanta and Dallas. We're also not satisfied with latency in Colombia, Argentina and Eastern Europe, looking at options there. The reason as to why they haven't said specifically here that there will be new servers in a particular location on launch is that they probably don't know either. All in all, if you're in Vietnam, tough luck. Most other people in the world should be able to connect in one way or another. Next up, the Valorant rank change. This might have slipped some of you by. They're gonna rename the top rank in the game from Valorant to something else, and they will be doing this for launch as confirmed in a Polygon interview. There's also talk about giving everyone in that rank a more specific rating, kind of like in Overwatch where you have top 500, or like in a lot of other games where in the top ranks you can actually see your exact placement on a leaderboard or something along those lines. We're gonna have to wait and see exactly how that works. I've assumed for now that there will only really be that name change to the rank, and then later on they will improve the ranked system more and more, add more features and things like this that the community wants. ESPN Esports as well did actually announce that on Monday, June 1st, starting at 12 PM Eastern time, there will be developer interviews, roundtable discussions with pros, and meta discussions, etc. on twitch.tv/ESPN Esports. So expect some new info there that could be really interesting. I'd be surprised if we don't get some sort of new information out of that stream. So yeah, that's happening on 12 PM Eastern time on June 1st. That's 6 PM CEST, which is my time zone. I'll throw a link to the tweet that's announcing that in the description. On top of all of this though, and what we had in the closed beta, you'll also be seeing a new agent for launch and a new map. This should go along with plenty of other balance changes, quality of life improvements, and just a load of bug fixes and other changes. This will be detailed in patch notes that are to be released either tomorrow or on June 2nd. We don't know when exactly, but they always do this kind of ahead of the patch, and I don't see why this would be any different. There's a lot of stuff regarding hit reg and other bug fixes that they've been wanting to address that have been addressed for this patch, so that'll be exciting. Regarding the agent though, we had a reveal just last night. It's Reyna from Mexico. This definitely seems to be that agent that a lot of people were speculating around, sort of being leaked. If you want the short version, you got a lot of leech and vampire style abilities here. And there was actually quite a lot of confusion about this trailer when it was dropped, as there was not much ability information, but I collected some info from Morello at Riot. He's a character design lead, as well as an article that was released, I believe, on a Spanish games news website. Combine that info with just me watching through the trailer, and this is what I've got. On C, you've got this blinding eye. Reyna launches out this eyeball that sort of floats in the middle of the air. It seems to be able to go through walls and such, just a short distance in front of you. And anyone that's in line of sight of this eye will get the Omen near sight effect on it. It says it'll blind them, but if you look at their heads in this part right here, you can see that it really looks like they have the near sight effect on them. And I feel like that makes a lot of sense for this ability as well. Her Q and E ability both share the same charge pool. Beginning with the Q, this is a self-heal that heals you to full HP over time. You need one of those 4 charges to use it, but you also need a soul orb from a corpse. These are the sort of purple energy balls that you can see above the corpses. So you need both one charge of the ability that you bought and that orb from the corpse. Next is the E ability. This is apparently a temporary invulnerability ability. It also needs one charge and one of those orbs from the corpses. Because of the requirement for these abilities, they share the same charge pool there. And this temporary invulnerability has quite a bit of animation going to it, and it seems to be a way to kind of get out or get away from a fight, reposition yourself, or maybe go for another frag. You can see it in action here. Reyna can also, as a passive, overheal by 50 HP all the time. So that overheal caps out at additional 50 HP on top of your normal HP and armor. You can see that with the heart in the bottom left here. I imagine some of this UI isn't quite final, but regardless, that's a pretty important passive, especially going into the ultimate. When Reyna presses X, she goes into this vampire-like state, or whatever you want to call it. She gets a buff that indicates this state. It lasts for a certain amount of time. You can see it in the bottom right with this combat stim icon, and also in the bottom left with the Empress duration here, with this meter that's slowly diminishing. That buff or passive you gain when you're in the ultimate as well also gives her faster firing, reload speed, and lowered recoil, so there's really a lot of stuff going on there. Every time you get a kill when in the ultimate, you heal for another 50 HP, and it refreshes the state's duration. You can see the cooldown here, or the buff of the ultimate, resetting here whenever she gets a kill. This heal also adds to the overall overheal, but she cannot use her Q and E ability when in this state. It's instead replaced with another ability on E, a sort of enhanced version of the two, where she presses E on one of those soul orbs on a corpse, and she heals for 50 HP and goes invisible, so it kind of combines these two abilities and improves them a bit too. Hopefully all of that is somewhat clear. I know it's quite a bit, and this ultimate can feel quite confusing without having seen it in action more. I doubt the UI is final, and some of these details might be slightly incorrect. Regardless, on June 2nd it'll all be cleared up when we can actually play the game again, so take this with a pinch of salt just for now in case anything is slightly incorrect. But it should be pretty spot on, as this is coming from Riot and also from what you can see yourself in the trailer. The only thing I'm a bit unsure about is that enhanced ability in the ultimate, the E ability. As you can see the prompt pop up for it, but we don't have on paper exactly what it does. That part is mostly based on the visual elements. I think this is a really interesting character though, and it is actually another duelist as confirmed by Morello on Twitter. Here's Ryan just asking him real quick, which is interesting because we've got more duelists now than any other class, so maybe that 12th character is way more likely to be an initiator, sentinel, or controller. Either way, Reyna is looking like she's gonna be just a frag machine. Morello added that on Twitter as well, saying that Reyna has the potential to pop off like no one else, avoiding being traded on or healing, so you have to beat her square up each time. If she doesn't get kills though, she's bad, like near useless. You're making a big bet picking Reyna. So in a way that's very similar to Jett. Personally, I feel like the Reyna blind on her C looks like a pretty strong ability as well, so at least there's that. But yeah, obviously if you're not getting kills on this character, you're not getting those orbs, and if you're not getting the orbs, you're not using half of your kit. And the ultimate really relies on you getting kills as well. Even though it gives you HP and other things that might help you get that kill, like those other buffs, you still need to be the one clicking that head hitbox. Really cool character. I'm hyped to see more and to try this one out. Right now, I'm definitely seeing Reyna being picked a lot in the first couple weeks here. I think she's kinda similar to Phoenix in some ways though. You gotta think of all the ways to self-heal, and you do that often with Phoenix after trying to go for a kill anyway, similar to with Reyna. The differences mostly lie in how dynamic their kits are, as both of their ultimates are also those other ultimates that you want to use to try and get kills with. The difference being really that with Phoenix you can also go and try to get some information. Going around a corner into a dangerous spot that might otherwise just get you killed is just a lot more viable in the Phoenix ultimate. Anyway, Reyna, really cool character, looking forward to seeing more of her for sure. As for the map that this same video is on, this is Ascent, which takes place in Venice. It's also seen in that launch reveal trailer with Jett and Phoenix. And in this Reyna trailer we get a much better idea of the aesthetic of the map. This is also the same location as the range actually in Valorant, which is also part of Venice. For example, in that trailer we can see a near identical layout of this part next to the bomb site in the range, which also appears to be next to that bomb site but on Ascent. This was expected to be the case when the minimap of Ascent was discovered in the game files back in April, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see more similarities from either the range or other spots around that practice range, or just things that seem similar when we look at those different minimaps. There's also this destructible door here, which is quite surprising to see a new element be introduced like that. Cool to see more map-specific mechanics though. It'll be interesting to see how that works out, but I imagine that it's going to be similar to the Haven door in a way, where every round what's destructible just refreshes. So on the Haven map it's just the door armor, and on Ascent it's just this full door that will just replenish every round. On top of all that, we know there's a second content drop coming later into the summer. We don't know exactly what that will contain, but based on what Riot have been saying, it's likely to contain the 12th agent that was originally intended for launch, as well as a game mode that so far we don't have any official details on, so I don't want to talk about it in this video. There's been some data mining and some minor leaks. All in all, they wanted to be a shorter game mode, maybe about 10-15 minutes of playtime instead of the normal 35 to 40 minutes that a Valorant game tends to take. That is everything for this video though. Thank you very much for watching. June 2nd, 2 PM CEST is very likely not confirmed. Check out @PlayValorant on Twitter for actual updates on all of that info, and we'll see you guys in game on Tuesday. Goodbye.